Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So I've got a series of battle reports from a one-day tournament I attended last week. It was kind of a low-key thing. I think people were bringing not necessarily the hardest lists they could. I think a lot of us have been playing so many GTs lately that we just wanted a day to kind of relax and push models around. One thing that made it very cool was that one of my subscribers was visiting town locally and contacted me, and so he swung by, picked me up, and not only were we able to hang out all day, but we're put against each other this first game. So it's a 2,350 point game, and you can have up to 350 points from the Storm of Magic book on a 0-2. So you don't have to use it at all. You can have one thing or two things from it. So my opponent using Dwarfs did not bring anything from the Storm of Magic. This is scenario 2, but I just don't remember it. It didn't matter. So starting on the left, he's got a horde of warriors and they actually are supposed to have great weapons. He's borrowing my army, of course, if you recognize the models. And this one has a runesmith in there, so he gives him armor piercing. And I know he certainly has a dispel scroll, or the equivalent anyway. He's got 2 organ guns, both of which have a master engineer attached to them. There's a stone thrower in back. I think it's got +1 strength, and it definitely has flaming. And those organ guns, I think, also have like +1 to hit. So they're hitting on like 2s with a range of 30 inches. I mean, those things are brutal. Strength 5, armor piercing. And the master engineers allow them to, when they roll the 2 artillery dice, they can reroll one of them. Then he's got a horde of long beards with hand, weapon, and shield. And they have a runesmith with another type of, again, a dispel scroll, as well as a battle standard bearer. And then in the far right, he has a cannon. So in the corner, I have a trebuchet. Then I've got 2 blocks of knights. Now the one on the right has my level 4 lore of beasts in there, and she's got I think she has a scroll. And then on the front rank there are 3 paladins. One of them, the one that's basically a Grail Knight, has a 2-up armor save, and the other 2 have a 1-up armor save. One of them has protection against flaming. Then in the other knight unit, I've got, if you look at the front rank on the right, that's a Grail Knight. That's got a 2-up armor save. And then I've got my heroic Killing Blow Lord, and then my battle standard bearer who has a 2-up rerollable. I've got a unit of harpies, a big unit of men-at-arms with a level 2 lore of beasts, and then I have a giant chaos spine beast on the left. I was going to go with the dragon, but you just can't beat this thing for the points. The regen is absolutely huge. Then I've got some archers and a trebuchet, and my opponent has a gyrocopter up there. So of course he has the opportunity to go first, so he moves the gyrocopter up. Yeah, I realize just bad position on my part again, because there's really nothing I can do. I could probably charge that thing with my my bowman. Otherwise, and he moves he doesn't just sit on the back line. He actually moves his hordes up a little bit. We go to the shooting phase. He lays a template down on my bowman and kills 7. Okay. So they're not a threat. So now he's pretty much free to charge a trebuchet, and I've decided it's not worth worrying about. He can have it. I'll get 1 round of shooting. Hopefully I can kill some dwarfs. Otherwise, between stone thrower, cannon, and 2 organ guns, he really just kills a few knights. And I think of the stone thrower hit the harpies and killed 4 out of the 5 of them. Overall, I felt very lucky. So Bretonnia turn 1. So one thing that greatly affected my strategy for this game is I asked him if anything in his army had stubborn, and I thought he said no. Apparently he said yes, and I just misheard him. So my thinking was, all I've got to do is beat these guys by enough in combat, and we don't have to play around. So instead of trying to hang back and weathering this heavy artillery fire in the hopes of whittling down his units first, let's just get up in his business. So I've got my lone remaining harpy and 1 paladin in front of his horde of longbeards, so he can't possibly charge my knights, but I can charge at will on my turn. So my thinking is I send 2 knight lances with what's left, I guess 2 paladins and a lord, 3 paladins and a lord, all against his longbeards. He won't be steadfast. I should win combat by a bunch, and we should be good. Then on the left, I figure I've got a giant chaos spine beast that with all his attacks and his thunderstomp and everything should make pretty short work of the great weapon warriors, although they're going to do some damage. My thinking too is if I can get my men-at-arms in there and turn my level 2 into a Mount Chimera, then that would be just awesome. I took another paladin out, threw him on the right so he could go after that cannon over there. And hey, I rallied my archers. Not that it's going to do me any good. And yeah, so during the magic phase, I get +1 strength and toughness off on one unit, and everything else is able to stop. Anything of importance, he knows he can stop. I did land a trebuchet on one of his organ guns, and I rolled a single wound, but that's just what I do. So we go to Dwarf turn 2. He charges on the right, both my Harpy and my Paladin. I flee with both, and he's right where you see him. So he's going to get a chance to shoot at me, and then I get a charge, and it's going to work or it's not. On the left, I think he just moved up and he didn't try to charge. So I've got a good chance of just double charging him next time. I'd rather be able to put my Spine Beast on the right-hand side and my Men-at-Arms on the left. That way I can turn into the Mountain Chimera and I have plenty of room for it. But it really doesn't work out when I charge into the Giant Chaos Spine Beast. Once he connects, my Men-at-Arms can't get around him. I think it was something like that. Anyway, of course, Gyrocopter charges one trebuchet. There are the fleeing roadblocks. Yeah, I think he dropped a stone thrower in this dude's head, but killed him. Shot as much as he could at this guy. I'm getting a cover save from the house, but he's still hitting pretty well. I think he tried to throw the... Yeah, anyway, whatever. He has 2 wounds on him. And then, of course, the trebuchet dies. And we go on to Bretonnia turn 2. So I should say on Bretonnia turn 1, when I got the +1 strength and toughness, I miscast and put a wound on both of my spellcasters. So we go to Bretonnia turn 2. I like the looks of this. I've got 2 Knight Lances into his guys on the right. Now, they've got a decent armor save, and they get that 5-up parry, which is really sweet. But again, I've got 3 Paladins and a Lord and just all those Knights, and I have a magic phase to try to get maybe a +1 strength and toughness off. He won't be he shouldn't be steadfast, and I didn't think at the time he was stubborn. So I think I should blow through him on the right. On the left, that's just the only way I can make it work. So I can turn my spellcaster into a low-level monster, but not a high-level one. So not ideal. But you know, I just need one of those 2 to work out, and then if it does, they can go over and support the other one. So very comfortable with how things are going. Yeah, there's that. There's that. And then after combat. So I did a grand total of 5 wounds. I was dumbfounded. Now, by the way, I should say the Dwarves rolled where they have hatred against my army, so not only, you know, is he strength 4 armor piercing, which is nice against knights, but he was rerolling to hit. I'm lucky I didn't take more wounds than I did. So I won by a few. He was on a 6 rerollable, and then that's when I found out that he was stubborn. It wouldn't have mattered because he rolled less than a 6 anyway. But him being stubborn changes everything, because now, you know, if I don't break him on the charge, I've got no chance whatsoever to break him in the future. And I might have approached it differently had I known that. So I'm not blaming my opponent. I believe very well that he said it and I just misheard it. Over here on the other side, yeah, I did some wounds, but not nearly as many as I thought I would. The Giant Chaos Spine Beast, whom I gave always strikes first. So he was rerolling to hit with 7 attacks. He still just only did a couple wounds. I rolled a 1 on Thunderstomp. It was just an epic fail. Luckily, the Men-at-Arms actually did a few wounds. But at the end of the day, I lost combat, and the Giant Chaos Spine Beast lost. So he's going to get shot to death, I'm sure. And if he stayed in combat, he was probably going to get killed. He's already down to 2 wounds. Of course, now they won't get rerolled to hit on the next turn. If you see the marker, I gave them they have the Curse of Honor here, so they were -1 to hit, but they were hitting on 3s with a reroll. So we go to Dwarf turn 3. His Gyrocopter tries to charge, I think, the flank of my Paladin, and failed it. We go to shooting, and he easily kills the Giant Chaos Spine Beast. I think he did like 8 wounds to it. And after combat, yeah, I mean, it's sunk at this point. And that's the problem with Bretonnia. They don't have staying power. So my leftmost unit with my General and the BSB, they weren't steadfast, of course. I lost combat and broke. BSB died. The other guys stuck around, but it doesn't matter because they don't have a chance in hell of doing anything here. And over here, He beats up my men-at-arms. My men-at-arms actually do a fair number of wounds to him. I think the men-at-arms might have even won this, and he's stuck. Either way, we both stick around. Bretonnia turn 3, I charge the paladin into the longbeards on the right. I fly the harpy up an inch in front of him so it can charge the organ gun next turn. Probably won't do any good. I'm just trying to get a cover save. My general rallies. There's a close-up. So during the magic phase, I get Savage Beast to force off. I dimensionally cascade. I don't get sucked into the void, but I kill every knight in the unit except the standard. May not have mattered. They probably wouldn't have got killed anyway, but yeah, when it rains, it pours. So the good news is I have 3 paladins, all with +3 attacks, +3 strength. And after combat, it looks like that. So we kill 7 of them, not very many. My sorceress is in a challenge with his not Thane, his runesmith, and he puts a wound on her, but she's still alive miraculously. And I don't know, I probably won that because I did so many more wounds, but what does it matter? He's stubborn, or would have been steadfast anyway. And over here, yeah, he beats up a lot of men-at-arms. I think this is my last turn that I'm going to be steadfast, but we stuck. So he brings the gyrocopter in the rear of him, probably overkill, didn't really need to do it. The cannon kills the trebuchet, whom you notice I haven't been saying anything about it. Everything's been scattering off, so he can die. Men-at-arms die. He overruns because he gets some bonus points if he gets a unit into my deployment zone. Over here, yeah, he breaks me from combat, overruns into that harpy, so the harpy can't charge now like I'd hoped. I rally on my turn, and on his turn on my turn, he kills the harpy. Doesn't even bother. I would have charged if I were him. Didn't even bother doing it because he's got 2 30-inch ranged organ guns and a cannon and a stone thrower, and just blew the ever-living crap out of all 3 characters. So at that point, we just called it because I had nothing left on the table. And it was a very big win for the Dwarfs. So thanks to me, my opponent is now in first place in this little tournament, and I am certainly in last place. I think I got 0 points out of it. Yeah, that was rough. You know, like I said, this game was a very relaxed tournament, so it was nice just to be able to go, and if things went south, just laugh about it and move on. Yeah, my opponent's list was on his phone, so it's not like I had a list to look at. I think if it was a serious tournament and I was looking at it and had known that they were stubborn, then it just would have changed everything. I would have not split up my troops to say 2 knights go into one unit and my beast and men-at-arms go in the other. I would have done something like tried to put my men-at-arms and both knight units into one, or something. You know, overwhelmed the unit that was not going to be stubborn, or throw both monsters into the unit that's stubborn so I can get as many wounds as possible, or some crap like that. So I would have approached it totally differently. Finding out when I did that I was never going to break him, yeah, it was kind of a foregone conclusion at that point. So anyway, that's game 1 of 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has several functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like the video, you can leave a comment, you can favorite the video. I want you to know that I appreciate it when you do things like that. It feels much more interactive than simply me talking to a screen. So if you're willing to do so, please like, comment, and favorite the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and you certainly are welcome to share this video on your blog or other websites if you are so inclined. Again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.